but how important is it to be able to express your sexuality the way you want to express it? And I'll tell you why I asked that question. For me, I don't necessarily express it. I don't tell people. Um, I'm only telling you this for the conversation, obviously, but I don't tell people. It's not something that I feel others need to know. But
Mhm.
at times, I get the impression, at least from those who are around me, who are part of your community, um, they have more of a desire to express it. But it seems to
Mhm.
be a sensitive topic to them. So if it is to you, let me know. But I'm always trying to understand how important is it to express this sexuality that is it has more than one facet to it, right? As you mentioned, there's bisexuality, there's those who are transgender, there's those who are two spirit, there's so on and so forth. So how important is it to express your sexuality in the manner that you want to express it in?
Yeah, so I can speak for like myself, and I could like speak for, I guess, the community as best as I can. But for me personally, it's important to express that because with me being in the closet for so long, I don't want to. I felt like I was wearing a mask. Um, it's it got exhausting to kind of mask my emotions and mask my desires. Like I was so scared to even compliment girls in public because I was afraid that somebody from my church would be like, "Oh, are you flirting with her? Like what?" So like at that point, like I knew that like coming out would be like not necessarily dangerous because for some people it is dangerous. But for me, it would just kind of my whole entire circle of friends would just completely shift. But then again, I was like thinking like, well, maybe that's a good thing because, I want people who accept me for me and are actually able to, be around me without being uncomfortable or actually able to hold honest conversations with me without feeling like, they're like, I guess, stepping on my toes because, I have a pretty diverse group of friends as far as like thought process and stuff, like, and political views and religious views. And like, we all really accept each other. But for me, it's important to express that part of myself because I hadn't gotten to express it for so long that now that I do, I would like people, to know up front. So that way it's just like, okay, this is what you get. If you don't agree with it, then, you know, I respect your opinion. However, I do have to set boundaries. Now, not saying that, like, I think that you're going to be like homophobic if you don't accept it. It's just I personally would like people to, especially with like closer friends who like I can talk about that stuff with. And even then, as far as vulnerability, it is still hard. So like as far as like stuff in my personal life, like if I have somebody that I'm interested in, man or woman, like somebody to talk to that about, you know, that's kind of why I kind of try and express it as best as I can. Um, but as far as like people who may not agree with it, of course, I'm not going to go to those people. If I'm like, hey, I'm experiencing these feelings towards somebody, or like, hey, I'm experiencing discrimination. Somebody told me like a homophobic slur followed by a racial slur, and I just kind of need to process this. Can you help me process this with you? If I'm talking to somebody who doesn't really know that I am bisexual or know about that about me, or not even just doesn't know, but like doesn't really is not able to reconcile with that, then it's going to be really hard because, for me, I really need that person to be like, this is something that needs to be changed in society that actually feels the same way. Like, if you feel like, yeah, this is definitely something that needs to be changed in society, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can I be there for you? Like, especially with like the intentionality, like expressing my sexuality kind of shows me who wants to have an intentional relationship with me, like platonic, romantic, whatever, like friendship, whatever. It shows like who's willing to have that intentional friendship or relationship with me, as far as like, being there, reaching out, like saying like, "Hey, I'm here for you, my sister, my brother, whoever." And for me, building those relationships, expressing my sexuality helps me a lot more with building those relationships because then I know, like, I don't really have to like feel people out. It's just like, okay, are they going to accept me? Are they not going to accept me? I'm still kind of feeling this person out. I can drop some hints. I can like flash my bracelet a little bit to see if they, are okay with it. But as far as like the community, as far as like the whole pride thing and like being out and about with it and expressing it, um, I feel like with that, it's kind of the same thing as far as like the whole gay rights movement and gay marriage not being illegal till it's not being legal until actually just recently, like early 2000s, and the whole fight to actually be able to hold hands in public without being discriminated against, you know, at that point, it's like if you have the opportunity to show the same PDA that straight people do, of course, queer folks are going to take the opportunity because they weren't able to do that before. So, you know, I feel like with the gay community, um, it's just very easy for them, and it just kind of comes naturally um, to us to like try and show our sexuality and try and make it clear to people so that way we know like okay, like am I okay with like talking about certain topics around certain people, or should I just like keep them to myself? And it just kind of depends on the person. So with us not being able to show that for so long, now that we are, it's just like a lot of people truly try and take advantage of that because, if I was told that like, let's say I had a girlfriend, and I was told that I couldn't show any emotion towards her, like, I would feel so self conscious. I feel like I would be like, oh, hey, good to see you, and like hug her. They'd be like, wait, hold on. Now, how do we let people know that this is a romantic hug or a platonic hug? Like, I don't want to get in trouble, like, something like that. I just, it can be scary. We still have a lot of work to do. The world still has a lot of work to do. In Turkey, it's illegal. A lot of places, a lot of places overseas, it is illegal. And so, as far as those places, there's definitely still a lot of work. But just here, it's more out and about because we know that we are able to show that without getting thrown off buildings like some countries. It's just so sad.